Hello and welcome to Star TV Newsroom, broadcasting from our studios in Carnifin along the Battle Harden Highway. I am Maimuna Fadera. Many thanks indeed for joining us. First, the headlines tonight. Gambia appoints British barrister Martin Hackett as first special prosecutor for TRRC crimes. Gambia hosts First Ladies Regional Forum on Zero Tolerance to Gender-Based Violence. GT Board and Red Dolphin Association formalize Beach Safety Partnership. GRA collects over $500 million in fuel revenue for March 2026. On the international front, funeral held for Al Jazeera journalist killed in Israel attack in Gaza. Well, those were the headlines, and now let's take a closer look at the stories making news in detail. In a landmark move towards transitional justice, the government of the Gambia has officially appointed British legal luminary Martin Hackett as the nation's first special prosecutor. Modo El-Baji tells us more.
The announcement was made by the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dauda A. Jallo, during a press conference held on Wednesday at the Sir Dauda Kairaba Jawara International Conference Center. Hackett is tasked with leading the prosecution of inhuman crimes documented by the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission (TRRC), marking a definitive shift from truth-telling to criminal accountability. The appointment of Mr. Hackett, a veteran barrister, signifies the government's commitment to addressing the atrocities committed during the 22 years administration of former President Yahya Jammeh.
I am honored to announce, on behalf of the government of the Gambia, that Mr. Martin Hackett, a British national, has been appointed as the special prosecutor for the Gambia to head the investigations and prosecutions of the TRRC cases. Mr. Hackett is a British barrister with more than 30 years of experience in criminal and international law, a graduate of Aberystwyth University, where he obtained his LLB honors. He was called to the bar in 1995 and has built a career focused on complex prosecutions involving war crimes, terrorism, serious organized crime, and other grave offenses.
Minister Jallo emphasized that the establishment of this office is a critical step in fulfilling the Never Again mantra that has guided the country since the TRRC's inception. This special prosecutor will head a hybrid court system specifically designed to try those most responsible for human rights violations between 1994 to 2017. Beyond the TRRC update, Minister Dauda A. Jallo provided a comprehensive briefing on the performance of the Director of Public Prosecutions over the past years. The data suggests a rigorous period for the Gambian judiciary.
70 cases were concluded by the department at various levels, 70. Out of that 70, 46 cases were decided on the merit. Decided on the merit means they flowed to their logical conclusion, a decision, a verdict is delivered. Those that don't reach there, sometimes these are the ones we say were struck out for some reason, or withdrawn, or other things. But cases that flew, they flowed directly up to conclusion, a judgment and a verdict is delivered. Out of the 70 were 46. Out of these 46 cases that were decided on merit, the Department of Criminal Division secured 36 convictions out of 46. 36 of them, they reached a conviction, or if it were an appeal, they successfully defended the appeal. Because you realize that some convictions come from the magistrate court, but immediately if people appeal to the high court, that's where the DPP steps in to defend the appeal. So convictions and successful defense, 36 out of 46.
During a sprinted question and answer session, the minister addressed the controversial trial of Ousainou Bojang. Following Bojang's recent acquittal, he was reportedly rearrested, a sequence of events Minister Jallow described as unfortunate. While the minister expressed regret over the optics of the situation, he reaffirmed the government's respect for judicial independence and the due process of law.
Release from prison and be rearrested is not lawful, is regrettable, it happened. After having been formally released from the prisons, he could not have been rearrested without a further court order, which I am not aware of. So necessary interventions were done and he was released immediately the following morning.
With Martin Hackett now at the helm of the Special Prosecution Office, Gambians expect a wave of indictments related to the junglers and other high-ranking officials named in the TRRC reports. For Star TV, I am Modu El Baje.
A major First Ladies Forum on Zero Tolerance for Gender-Based Violence is underway at the Sadauda Kairaba Jawara Conference Center in Bijilo. The forum is part of the implementation of the SWEAT project under ECOWAS. Mariam Adem reports.
Running from April 8 to the 10th, 2026, the historic event is organized for the first time under the SWEAT Plus project by the Government of the Gambia, the ECOWAS Commission's Department of Human Development and Social Affairs, and co-hosted by the Office of the First Lady of the Gambia. The forum brings together First Ladies, government officials, and representatives from key partners, including the West African Health Organization, the Economic Community of Central African States, the World Bank, and the United Nations Population Fund. Its primary goal is to galvanize regional commitment to end gender-based violence, reduce school dropouts among adolescent girls, and strengthen institutional frameworks. World Bank senior economist and SWEAT Plus tax team leader Eleonora Gavegnero describes gender-based violence as a major barrier to development, limiting education, economic participation, and social cohesion. She emphasized that the SWEAT Plus project focuses on prevention, survivor support, and empowerment while calling for improved data systems to track progress effectively.
By coming together through this forum, SWEAT Plus countries are sending a clear and unified message. Zero tolerance for gender-based violence is a shared and regional responsibility. Protecting women and girls is not optional. It is a foundational to development, stability, and prosperity. This is why SWEAT Plus project is of paramount importance. The SWEAT Plus project is a World Bank largest regional investment dedicated to empowering adolescent girls and women in the West Africa, and it builds in nearly a decade of experience that started in the Sahel and reflects a clear lesson that we have learned together.
Highlighting the urgency of the issue, UNFPA Country Representative Deiro Sarr stressed the critical nature of the forum as a platform to accelerate collective action to protect women and girls. She revealed that over 8 million women and girls in West and Central Africa required urgent support for GBV in 2024, with only a small fraction of survivors seeking help or achieving justice.
We will also finalize a draft ministerial communique and shape evidence-based recommendations to inform the roadmap's implementation, including guidance on protecting adolescent girls as we establish a strong regional technical working group to sustain momentum. Ladies and gentlemen, technical experts, the challenge before us is immense and urgent. In 2024 alone, more than 8 million women and girls in the Western Central Africa region required urgent support due to gender-based violence, and of the reported cases, 38% of them involved rape or sexual assault, and 37% were due to intimate partner violence, so it happens in our bedrooms. This is not merely a statistic, it represents millions of individual lives shattered by violence.
Funded by the World Bank through ECOWAS, the SWEAT Plus project is the largest regional investment dedicated to empowering women and girls in sub-Saharan Africa. This gathering, therefore, represents a critical step in translating high-level commitments into concrete strategies to end gender-based violence and promote gender equality across West and Central Africa. ECOWAS resident representative to the Gambia, Her Excellency Miata Lely French, noted that harmful practices such as early marriage and female genital mutilation continue at alarming rates across West Africa. Approximately 41% of girls marry before age 18 in the region, with some countries reporting even higher rates. Female genital mutilation affects millions of girls annually, posing severe health and social risks. French described the forum as a vital expression of regional solidarity and shared responsibility.
Despite robust international instruments like the ECOWAS Gender Policy and the Supplementary Act on Equality of Rights, implementation remains fragmented and violence continues to thrive in this gap between policy and practice. This brings me to why we are here. This is not a ceremonial dialogue. As the technical backbone of this fight, your mission over the next 2 days is to move from diagnosis to surgical intervention. Specifically, I would ask that we focus on 3 critical outputs. First, data harmonization. We cannot fight what we cannot measure. Our member states use different definitions for rape, domestic violence, and FGM. We need a common regional indicator framework to track progress on.
The Minister of Gender, Children and Social Welfare, Honorable Fatou Kinte, reaffirmed the country's commitment to gender equality through legal reforms and institutional strengthening. She described this platform as timely and essential for moving beyond discussions to tangible actions.
This platform provides a unique opportunity to deepen partnerships, exchange experiences, and advance solutions that are both practical and transformative. The leadership and advocacy of First Ladies in this regard are particularly commendable as they amplify visibility, mobilize political will, and inspire action across communities and nations. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, the Gambia remains steadfast in its commitment to promoting gender equality and eliminating all forms of violence against women and girls. Over the years, we have made notable progress through deliberate policy choices, sustained legal reforms, and strengthened institutional frameworks aimed at safeguarding the rights and dignity of women and girls.
The forum follows preparatory meetings of experts and ministers who review GBV trends, identify gaps in protection and response systems, and prioritize actions. Participating countries under the Suede Plus framework include Burkina Faso, Chad, Mali, Mauritania, Senegal, Togo, and the Gambia, with additional engagement from other regional states. Expected outcomes include a regional roadmap for zero tolerance of gender-based violence, the formation of a First Ladies Alliance against GBV, and a joint declaration reaffirming commitments to prevention, protection, and accountability. Maria Madem, reporting for Star TV News.
In a move to protect visitors and locals along the country's coastline, the Gambia Tourism Board has today signed a memorandum of understanding with the Red Dolphin Lifeguard Association, marking a significant step towards strengthening collaboration in the tourism sector. Hadijaju tells us more.
The signing ceremony, held earlier today at the GTA Board head office, brought together officials from the Gambia Tourism Board and representatives of the Red Dolphin Association. The agreement aims to institutionalize collaboration between the Gambia Tourism Board and the Red Dolphin Association, creating a formal framework for ongoing partnership and coordinated efforts along the beaches. Director General, Gambia Tourism Board, Aida Jengjai, says the agreement marks an important milestone, recognizing the vital role played by the Red Dolphin Lifeguard Association, particularly in maintaining activities along the country's beaches.
So this MOU is a beginning of a significant and professional and meaningful working relationship. We cannot do it all, but the little that we can do, I am 100% sure we can work together to make Gambia safer. Because we cannot promote a country that when our visitors come, they don't feel safe around our beaches, because the beach is one of our strongest selling points. That is what we are known for. The Smiling Coast sandy beaches. If the sandy beaches are not safe, how can we sell it?
DG also commended the Red Dolphin Association for committing to the partnership, describing the agreement as a shared step toward improving safety standards along the country's beaches. She further assured that the board, together with the ministry, stands ready to work closely with the association to ensure that beaches remain safe and secure for both visitors and locals.
I applaud you for accepting to sign with us and assure you that we, the Gambia Tourism Board, including the ministry, is ready to work with you to ensure that our beaches are safe. Whenever you have challenges, everybody has challenges. Nothing is smooth in life. If you have challenges, we are family. We are all brothers and sisters. Come to the board, discuss with the team. Let's see how best we can work together to ensure that our visitors are safe, and also our own children and our own people, and we are all safe because we also go to the beach.
The Secretary General of the Red Dolphin Lifeguard Association, Noha Sedikan, commended the Gambia Tourism Board for the initiative, while also highlighting some of the challenges the association encounters in carrying out its work along the beaches. Mariam Nyang, Secretary of the Gambia Hotel Association, reaffirmed the association's commitment to supporting the initiative, describing it as part of a collective effort to promote safety and protect lives along the country's coastline.
Rest assured that the Gambia Hotel Association will also support this initiative and will also encourage you to extend your coverage from Combo Beach going to Bakau area as well. So on that note, I wish to thank the Gambia Tourism Board and thank the Red Dolphin for this initiative.
The Red Dolphin Association was also provided with essential equipment, including swimming goggles, whistles, T-shirts and flags to support their operations and enhance safety measures along the beaches. Meanwhile, the Memorandum of Understanding is expected to strengthen collaboration between stakeholders, with a shared commitment to improving safety and promoting sustainable tourism along the country's beaches. For Star TV News, I am Hadijajo.
The Gambia government, through its principal domestic revenue agency, the Gambia Revenue Authority, GRA, collected over $500 million from fuel-related taxes in March 2026. The figure was disclosed by Commissioner General Yankuba Dabo during a recent performance press briefing despite mounting global and domestic economic pressures. More in this report by Lamin Ba.
The revenue performance comes against the backdrop of heightened geopolitical tensions affecting global energy markets, particularly around the Strait of Hormuz, a critical maritime corridor between Iran and Oman, through which a significant portion of the world's oil supply passes. Disruptions and uncertainties in this region continues to exert pressure on fuel prices worldwide, with ripple effects felt even in small economies like the Gambia. In response to the surge in global fuel cost, the government of the Gambia opted to forego approximately $300 million in expected revenue for April 2026. The move is aimed at cushioning the impact of rising fuel prices on citizens and businesses, underscoring the state's balancing act between revenue mobilization and social protection. Fuel remains a central driver of economic activity, underpinning transportation, public service delivery, and broader productivity. Any fluctuation in its pricing structure inevitably affects the cost of living and operational expenses across sectors. The world is increasingly shaped by complex geopolitical dynamics, including conflicts, sanctions, trade disputes, and shifting alliances. Commissioner General Dabo noted that all of these influences domestic fiscal outcomes, commenting on the evolving global landscape.
You have all seen what is happening in the world today. Life is not as it used to be. So we are saying that all things being equal, we should be able to get the target that is set for us, or even get more than that. But that is only if things remain as they are. As you have seen, what is happening in the development of the world all over, currently the oil prices have gone up. this has affected the entire.
He further emphasized that these global developments necessitates difficult policy choices, including temporary revenue sacrifices, to stabilize the domestic economy.
And as we speak, this month we are in April, we are likely to have a subsidy of $300 million, which in simple language means that government is going to forgo over 300 million of its revenue to compensate the pump prices that the consumers are going to buy. So this is just the beginning. We don't know what is going to happen the following months that are coming. And that is why I put that quote, all things being equal. If things continue like this, it will be very difficult for us to get closer to what we need to get at the end of the year. Because some of these things are beyond us. It is not within the control of within the Gambia.
Despite these headwinds, the GRA's March collection underscores resilience in revenue performance, particularly within the fuel sector.
Marking has helped us to stop any under-declaration and any diversion or anything, and as such, the month of March, we are able to collect over 593 million in a single month. We were able to collect the tax on fuel alone. We collected over 593 million. And that is why I said, let's all pray that we have peace in this world. Because if everything remains the same, and we are getting 593, probably next month we are expecting to have over 600 million, but only to turn around because of the war that is going on. And prices have jumped up to a point that government has to come up with a subsidy of over 300 million.
Beyond economics, the broader context highlights the importance of stability and cooperation in sustaining development. Peace, as often noted, extends beyond the absence of conflict. It encompasses justice, dignity, and opportunity. It is built through inclusive systems, respect for human rights, and sustained efforts to resolve differences without violence, principles that remain essential in navigating both national and global challenges. Lamin Ba, Star TV News.
Well, we'll now take a short commercial break. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back with more news after the commercial break. Welcome back after that short commercial break. If you're just tuning in, this is Star TV News. We now take a look at the news beyond our borders. A funeral has been held in Deir al-Balah, central Gaza, for Al Jazeera's Mubasher correspondent Mohammed Wishar, who was killed in an Israel drone strike while traveling in his vehicle in western Gaza. Al Jazeera's Hani Mahmoud reported from the funeral that there is a growing sense of frustration and anger among Palestinians, particularly journalists who face no clear line between danger and safety, and no guarantee the moment they step outside reporting that they are coming back. Gaza's government media office says 262 journalists have been killed since Israel's war began in 2023. Mahmoud noted that the Israel military has carried out repeated acts of aggression, particularly directed and deliberately against Palestinian journalists who have been documenting atrocities across the Gaza Strip for 2 years. Family members told Mahmoud that Wishar was on his way to work, on his way to tell a story, but instead became part of the story. Al Jazeera issued a statement strongly condemning the heinous crime, describing the attack as a new and flagrant violation of international laws and norms that reflects a continued systematic policy of targeting journalists and silencing the voice of the truth. Despite the risk, Mahmoud reported that journalists remain very adamant on continuing reporting and documenting Israel atrocities.
Growing sense of frustration and anger among Palestinians here, particularly the journalist community here, those who feel they are stepping into much of uncertainty as much as as soon as they step into the field and start reporting and documenting, because there is no clear line between danger and safety, and there is no guarantee the moment they step outside reporting that they are coming back. This is the general mood here among Palestinians, because we've seen this repeated acts by the Israeli military, acts of aggression, particularly directed and deliberately against Palestinian journalists who have been documenting the atrocities, the crimes across the Gaza from day one of the unfolding genocide for 2 years. We've seen Mohammed and many of the journalists from different platforms, but particularly when it comes to Al Jazeera network, there has been a deliberate attack, deliberate slur campaign against the vast majority of them across the Gaza Strip for simply carrying the camera, carrying the microphone and reporting on the ongoing atrocity. When we spoke to his colleagues, I spoke to family members who said Mohammed was on his way to work, on his way to tell a story. Instead, he becomes part of the story, and sadly another journalist gone, another voice silenced here. But despite all of this, we still see more journalists are taking, unfortunately, taking the risk, which it shouldn't be the case at all, but still they're taking the risk. They are very adamant on continuing reporting and documenting many of the Israeli atrocities across the Strip.
Well, before we end the news, a quick recap of our headlines. Gambia appoints British barrister Martin Hackett as first special prosecutor for TRRC crimes. Gambia hosts First Ladies Regional Forum on Zero Tolerance to Gender-Based Violence. GT Board and Red Dolphin Association formalize beach safety partnership. JRA collects over $500 million in fuel revenue for March 2026. On the international front, funeral held for Al Jazeera journalist killed in Israel attack in Gaza. Well, that's all for this edition of the news. Do enjoy the rest of wonderful programs. Once again, thanks for your very company. I am Manager Fadera. Thanks for watching. Do have a wonderful night.